shot from the pace car as we roll with the field of the TNN All American 400. And it appears to be a very clean start. No tangles whatsoever, and already on to the backstretch. Our leader is Jody Ridley in the blue Ford Thunderbird.
All right, there's Ridley, and up. Oh, big trouble on the back straightaway. Coming off turn number 2, a giant tangle, and one car finally rides up over the top of another. That is car 74, John Wilson, an ASA driver, but the whole racetrack out coming off turn 2 is littered with race cars.
Oh, this was an incredible chain reaction accident. No sooner had I said it looked like a good, clean green start. I guess I should have knocked on something. Sorry about that, guys.
Well, they have not thrown the red flag, Steve. There's apparently a little bit of a hole in the racetrack, so the caution is out, and some of the cars are getting restarted now. But overall, we got a bunch of littered, busted up race cars, mostly down on the inside. There's a view from the rear of the pace car, right on the left there, Jody Ridley. Here is the litter on the back straightaway, and there goes Junior Hanley through it. Steve, let's take another look at how this started.
Watch 7 red and white and 9 orange and white to the left of your screen. They both rammed the cars in front of them.
What a crash. There's a 0 car, Tom Jones right in the middle of it, but it's number 7, Gary Samet, number 56, Darrell Brown, number 9, Dennis Lapham. They get into it with number 16, David Green, and everybody piles down to the inside. So we've got a bunch of damaged race cars, and as you can see, when this is almost about completed, there comes John Wilson, number 74. He ought to get a 10-yard penalty for piling on, Steve.
Well, that was kind of a county fair stunt show, a Chipwood special there. You know, and Ted Musgrave is in the pits trying to get things put back together again. These cars are all fiberglass bodied, so these accidents sometimes look like there's a lot more damage than there really is. In fact, the organization are doing a tremendous job. Look at this. They have almost completely cleared this racetrack. There was never a red flag. Dennis Lapham, number 9, who started in the 26th position, is not going to restart this race. He took a hit on every corner, I think. But this is amazing, Brock. They're not that far away from going green again.
Nope, there's some fiberglass and some little bits and pieces of metal to be cleaned up. But overall, I think we've only lost 2 or 3 cars. There's the 07 car of Kevin LePage. He's in the pits. They're going to have to tear away a bunch of body work, and I think the front suspension's hurt a little bit. But overall, we're going to have ourselves a race here. We're still under caution, so stick around. There's less than a lap underway at the TNN All American 400.
Well, the fans here at Nashville Motor Raceway didn't have to wait very long for some action in the TNN All American 400. A huge crash occurred on the very first lap. It's all cleaned up. Back now in front on a yellow flag lap is Jody Ridley. Rick Crawford had moved up quickly. Harold Ferris, Steve Burgess, Junior Hanley. He escaped that fray, as did Bob Seneca and the fellas you see here that fill out the top 10. So only 3 cars officially were lost from a chain reaction accident.
All right, we're ready to go green again. We'll see if we can get another lap in. Here comes Ridley off turn number 4. He will lead him down to open up the second lap of competition here. Rick Crawford, who's run so strong during the earlier qualifying races last week, is right up there on Ridley's bumper.
I talked earlier about all the regional pride at stake here. Well, the all-pro guys from down here in the south right now are running 1 and 2, and look at Crawford on the inside of Jody Ridley, already going for the lead.
Rick Crawford showing great power and potential here. Slides underneath Jody Ridley as they go around turns 1 and 2 to move out to about a 5-car length lead. Boy, what power he's showing early in the going. And look at Junior Hanley in that white 72. He's going to try Harold Fair on the outside, and he's right up on the bumper of Jody Ridley. So Junior Hanley also making a move here early in the going.
And it is Junior Hanley in the white 72 car that has the line. However, in the qualifying races last week, we saw that the blue Thunderbird of Jody Ridley could run in the middle of the racetrack very competitively. Now, there is Harold Fair, as you said, Brock, also challenging Ridley for that 3rd spot.
Well, this is a very early stage of the race. As we go down to the pits, that's the 07 car, Kevin LePage. Remember, saw him earlier. A lot of bent iron on the front suspension of that car. I don't know whether he's going to be able to get back into the race or not.
Well, let's take one more look at the train wreck that may have sidelined that car. It's a wonder it didn't get about a dozen of them, Brock.
Here it comes off turn number 2, opening lap. And right here we see just a mass melee happening happening right there. There are the cars sliding to a halt, most of them down on the inside. Kevin LePage, one of the very few drivers, unbelievably, not able to restart. So we had very few casualties, which is a testimony to the ruggedness and the real strength of these race cars. Obviously, nobody hurt, but miraculously, very few cars badly damaged either.
That was just an incredible accident. I have never seen anything quite like it, I don't think, in short track stock car racing. And seldom will you see a battle any better than the one we've got going right now for the lead. Rick Crawford and Junior Hanley.
All right, from outside Toronto, Ontario, Junior Hanley. From way down south in Dixie, Rick Crawford, two of the best short track drivers in the business going at it. And Rick gets nailed by Junior Hanley coming off turn number 2. So Rick came out of the second row to take the lead from Jody Ridley, and then Junior Hanley comes up from the 4th row to blow by everybody. So Junior now showing some real horsepower, and look at this, Harold Fair's gotten by Jody as well.
And the battle is for Ridley's 4th position. The blue 98 Thunderbird in 4th. Behind him is the 84 car of Bob Seneca. Then the pole sitter Steve Burgess, Kenny Wallace. Any one of them has the potential to win this thing overall. The temptation here, Brock, is to maybe race too hard at the start of this event. It's 400 laps.
Well, that's exactly what Jody Ridley is not doing. Jody's a crafty old professional. He's going to let this race settle down before he starts to make his move. So all those Jody Ridley fans out there, don't worry, because he's sitting back there in 4th place. He's given up a couple of spots. Oh, 24. That's Clifford Allison up against the wall in turn number 1. Apparently is okay. The car continues to run. Looks like he bent up some body work and probably will head for the pits. But he started way in the back. That is the youngest son of the great driver Bobby Allison, and of course the younger brother of Davey Allison, just getting a start in professional racing. And I'm afraid it's not a very auspicious one for him here today. He got a little bunt there and sent Clifford up against the fence in turn number 1, surely damaging the right side of that automobile. So I'm sure we'll see a whole lot more of this young man in the years to come, but not much more of him today.
That was the 46 car of Bill Zardo that got into the side of Clifford Allison. Junior Hanley hangs on, the Canadian, followed by the Southerner Rick Crawford, the Midwesterner Harold Fair, a Southerner Jody Ridley, another Midwesterner Bob Seneca, same thing for Kenny Wallace. And that's why I guess motorhomes surrounding this entire facility bear all kinds of different license plates. Their fans have followed them to the biggest short track race of the year. You know, pit stops are going to be a big part of this event before it's all over. And earlier, Brock Yates looked at a new device that should help pull them off.
One of the long-standing traditions in stock car racing is that you run stock wheels with stock lug nuts. Unlike an Indy car or Formula One car where you have a big spline center section, these guys have to run stock lug nuts. And of course, you don't want to, during a pit stop, to have to mount up each one of the lug nuts like you might do with a flat tire on the side of the highway. So over the years, the guys have worked with weather stripping and gasket material to pre-mount the lug nuts on the studs so that when the wheel goes on, they're already in position. But Russ Erlin out of London, Ontario, has come up with an even better idea. He's got himself, his lug nuts are spring-loaded so that when the wheel goes on, these things are already in position. They'll spin both ways so that as soon as the impact wrench goes on, they're in position, ready to go. Good idea.
Indeed it is. So good that Junior Hanley of the ACT also has those installed. You're right, Brock. They've always glued them on or plastered them on. I've always wondered why they didn't break. Well, they did break off occasionally. Somebody's going to make some money on that little deal.
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. As the pace car rolls off down pit road, and we've got a restart here. We're back underway on green. Junior Hanley on the point. Drives them down into turn number 1 with Rick Crawford right on his rear bumper. Here they come. Harold Fair, number 81 in the 3rd spot. Right behind him, Jody Ridley. And look at these two guys go at it, Steve. Junior Hanley, one of the coolest race drivers I've ever run into. Rick Crawford, a very emotional young man. He drives real hard. Two great contrasting pairs of drivers.
You know, if you watched our qualifiers last week for this race, you're not surprised at all to see the 72 car and the 14 car up front, because they had to start at the back of their heats and battled up front even under that handicap. So as I said before, there is really no surprise here that these guys are up leading. Jody Ridley back there with the blue Thunderbird. He's settled in, as Brock said. He's going to kind of let these guys go out and run their shock absorbers and their tires right off those cars before he makes his move. And there may be a little concern among among Steve Burgess' fans as to the pole sitter, because he has also slipped way back into the field. Brock Yates is down in the pits right now to talk to his crew chief and see if, well, there is a problem with that automobile or he's just pacing it. Brock?
Steve, I'm with Bill Benchmister, who's the co-owner of the Burgess car, and he seemed to be falling back a little bit. Are you just trying to pace the at this early stage of the race, or are you going to try to move it up a little bit?
Absolutely. We're just staying right with the leaders, just holding our own. We're waiting to go 400 laps. That's what we're looking for.
Good. Okay, there's the story. He's apparently running just fine, Steve, despite the fact that he's fallen back a little bit.
All right, well, they're showing their battle plan, and that is to not, as we talked about, get too over-anxious at the start of this race. In fact, there's a race report that is Bob Seneca in fourth, and if you count back to find Burgess, well, the 12 car is in the 8th position right now.
But not that far back. You got to stay in the lead lap, obviously, in a race like this, Steve. But you can fall back 5, 6, 7, 8 places because we've got at least 4 or 5 pit stops coming up in the course of this competition. Whenever a yellow comes out after, say, 30 or 40 laps, the guys are going to come in. Now, remember now, in the rules of this race say you can only change 2 tires on each stop. So that makes some tactical decisions that have to be made, but you can surely count on the right side tires going down first, and certainly in the early stages of the race.
We've got a smoker up there, Brock. That is Rick Crawford, the 14 car. Some smoke coming out of that machine as we saw it in turn number 1. Now, oh, there it is again. Now, you will remember he lost his power steering unit in the qualifiers last week. Maybe this is a similar problem.
Well, it's possible, but that's an awful lot of smoke coming out of there. I don't know whether they're going to stop him for consultation. They did that, remember, last week, and he returned to win the race. But right now, he's got to be disappointed and very concerned. There's a bunch of smoke coming out of that second-place automobile. As he continues to charge here in TNN All American 400. We'll be back with more action from Nashville.
Back at Nashville, the caution is out because of that number 14 car. When we left you, it was smoking badly. Well, the caution came out, and they pointed right at him with a flag and said, get in here, boy, and let's have a look at that car. It's smoking just like it did a week ago. Don Garland is in the pits to find out why.
Well, this is Rick Crawford. He's gotten a lot of smoke coming out from under those wheel wells. He's got a fire in there, a small fire. I see the flames. They got to get that put out real quick. Guy standing by with a fire extinguisher. Some sort of an oil leak dripping down on the header pipes. Seems to be all right. The crew is putting the hood back on the car. They're talking to the driver. They think it's a power steering. Now that'll make it awful tough on this driver to go this whole race without power steering. The official wants to have another look. They have shut off the engine.
All right, tough break for Rick Crawford, but here comes the leaders. The entire leading field coming in for a pit stop. The first man in, Junior Hanley. Let's see how this crew goes to work. The right side tire is going to be changed. There goes Butch Miller. There's Harold Fair. Everybody taking it on right side rubber, of course, topping off the fuel tanks as well. 22-gallon NASCAR fuel cells on all these automobiles. Junior Hanley, good quick stop, Steve.
Oh, absolutely brilliant. You know, these cars don't make all that many pit stops during the course of the year. They run a lot of very short races, and they can still be an adventure. The 81 car, there's Harold Fair getting out. Butch Miller got held up a little bit trying to exit the pits and finally makes it happen.
Yeah, bad stop for Butch. Slowed him up a lot. In fact, I think that's dropped him back to about 12th spot. So Butch Miller loses some time. Junior Hanley came in, as we see there. He started 6th, jumped right into the lead. I mean, just charged to the front and now holds the lead after an excellent stop.